So Simon, in the book you talk about how to read a customer, and you talk about sort of observing them and classifying and then adapting your behaviour. And I think it's a really useful kind of model for a salesperson to understand. So perhaps you could explain that for people.
Sure. I mean, I think there's a two-stage process here. One is you may interact with the person online first, via email, or maybe connect with them on LinkedIn, and then you meet them in person. So let me just cover those in sequence. So let's say you're going to have I'm going to have a meeting with you. What I can do is go to your LinkedIn profile, and where you describe yourself, what people will do is use language that reflects their personality, that they're comfortable with. So what I did when I wrote the book is I went to people whose profiles I had their full PRISM brain mapping profile, so I knew what their personality was, went to a representative sample of LinkedIn profiles and lifted out the language those personality traits. So the expressive buyer would describe themselves in this way. So it gives you a really good idea. First of all, get a clue from LinkedIn. If you email communication, if it's a very short, sharp email, it's likely to be from probably the driver personality. If it's got a couple of exclamation marks, it's likely to be the expressive. If they're making sure you know where the visitor's car park is and they have a nice weekend, you're probably in with the steadiness personality. And if it's quite a detailed email about what they'd like to cover in the meeting, it's possibly a pretty good chance that that's the gold kind of analytical. So you're prepared. But also, even if you just go in absolutely cold, you've never met the person before, you haven't researched them on the internet, which you should do, but if you haven't, they come to greet you in the foyer. First thing, you observe them, you classify them, then you adapt your behaviour. So it's the speed and the energy the person possesses. They come towards you quite quickly, they're moving at speed, there's energy in their body. That's either the expressive personality or it's the driver. And if their body language is open, it's going to be more expressive. If it's closed, it's driver. So energy first. So high energy will be the more demonstrable energy will be the green or the red. Lower levels of more contained energy will be the blue steadiness or the gold analytical. Then when you've classified them that way, then look for the body language. The more closed it is, it's going to be the driver or the analytical. The more open it is, it's the steadiness or the expressive. That gives you a very good early indication. Then as the meeting progresses, you're gathering more information about them, then you are adapting your style. So if I have a driver personality, I get straight down to business pretty quickly. I'm not going to do a lot of small talk, not going to ask them too many questions about their weekend, because they just want to get straight down to business. Whereas with other styles, that would be the wrong approach, will create a feeling of discomfort. Pretty easy thing to do once you know how to do it.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because people often think of sales as, thinking in your feet and having the gift of the gab. But actually, what you're saying, and I subscribe to this view as well, is you can really be prepared, and just looking at them online, looking at their profiles, you can understand a lot about someone before you actually meet them.
And I think that is what modern sales professionals must do. I sometimes talk about the worst question a salesperson can ask, and it used to be the best question you could ask. And it used to be the best question, so Grant, please tell me about your business. Now it's the worst question. I should know about your business. I should do my research before I come to see you. And then doing that way, it's respectful to the customer, it shows you're interested, you've gained some useful knowledge, and it's a really good starting place for the conversation.
And for those people in global sales, I'm just interested because you paint this picture, but there are cultures where you don't get down to business straight away.
Absolutely.
So how do you adapt the sort of PRISM model depending on where you are culturally?
Yeah, well, so PRISM is around sort of human behaviour and human personality. And then another thing that's going to impact, obviously, is your international culture. And I think if you are selling to different countries, for example, in the UK, we're a very multicultural society, and I have a lot of customers who are based in the UK but have come from countries outside of the UK. And using online resources like the research of Geert Hofstede and things like that, I do my homework on that country, how they like to behave. For example, what's the power distance, what's their approach to sort of uncertainty, those sort of things that allow me to be respectful of those different different cultures and alter my behaviour necessarily accordingly. But if you're going to be working with a country a lot or a culture a lot, I think you need to do your homework on that. Read up on the history of the country as well. I think it's just a good thing to do.